Morant with a running start. Elevates. Dunks. Oh, my goodness. Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn. His heat is gone. Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now with three. Count it. A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance. Adams going long. Morant. He hit it. Ja Morant, insanity.
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. Grizzlies win edition. The Grizzlies won a game. They won a preseason game. The first Grizzlies win edition of the season. But, unfortunately, there is terrible injury news to talk about once again. Not only did the team announce Scottie Pippen Jr., who hasn't played in the preseason since the first game, he's going to miss 3 months with a toe injury. We also saw Ty Jerome go down to a calf injury against the Heat. And as of this recording, which is late on Sunday evening, October 19th, we do not have an injury update about Ty Jerome. So, on today's episode, we're going to talk about the preseason victory over the Miami Heat. But also, we're going to talk about the injury fallout of losing Scottie Pippen Jr. and potentially losing Ty Jerome for a little bit. So before I get into it, just a thank you to everyone who signed up for my Patreon at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast, especially those of you who just recently signed up to play fantasy basketball. David Charlton just signed up. I think he was the last one to get in on one of those fantasy leagues. Texie signed up. Thank you very much to everyone who supports the show over there. I did drop a bonus episode on Saturday answering some listener questions, talking about the idea of a Grizzlies curse. If you're interested in that, again, it's for my Patreon supporters, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Also, the season starts on Wednesday, and for that season opener for the Grizzlies, on October 22nd, this Wednesday, I will be hosting a watch party at Nobles East. Nobles Beer Hall, we now call it Nobles East. It's Nobles on Main Street in Nashville. I'll be giving away a bunch of Grizzlies prizes. Come watch the game with a bunch of other Grizzlies folks. Watch it with me over at Nobles East. Again, it's a lot of fun. Tell a friend, be there. Come to the watch party if you're anywhere near Nashville. All right. I guess we start with the game. I don't know. Let's start with the game, which was notable because Ty Jerome left 4 minutes into the game. Ty Jerome drew a shooting foul, and you could tell as he was going to the free throw line, he was moving gingerly. He was, you could tell maybe in some pain. He then missed both free throws, which is very bizarre for Ty Jerome. He's a great free throw shooter. He missed both free throws, and then going back on defense, he was limping. You could see at that point he was limping, but he's staying in the game. He got posted up, and he did like a reach around where you knock the ball from behind. So he slaps the ball from behind away from Andrew Wiggins, and then Ty goes down kind of in a heap, grabbing at that calf. And that's all we have. There's been no update. I mean, it looks like, from my not a doctor perspective, it looks like, I wouldn't call it a minor injury. When you go down like that with a soft tissue injury, now if it was a ligament issue, I think we would have heard something. So I don't think it's that, but even if it's a calf injury bad enough to make you go down like that, I don't think that's like a day-to-day thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. So hopefully I'm wrong, and Ty Jerome could be available for opening night, but I'd guess he's going to miss a little bit of time, be it days or weeks. Now, after Ty Jerome goes down, the Grizzlies played what was supposed to be sort of a dress rehearsal. They were ramping up the minutes for the main guys. this was, for I think 3 quarters, supposed to be basically a dress rehearsal. Now, of course, there's no Ja Morant. We are still hopeful Ja Morant is going to be available for the season opener on Wednesday. The team is saying he's progressing nicely. He's participating in practices, but he did not play against the Heat. And so with no Ja Morant, Ty gets that starting spot. So you have Ty Jerome, Jalen Wells, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Jock Landale. Good chance that was going to be the starting lineup for opening night. Although, again, we all thought Ja Morant was going to be there or is going to be there. So then the rest of the first half, you played an 11-man rotation. Now, I'm interested to know if it would have been a 10-man rotation if Ty Jerome had not gotten hurt. I think it's interesting which guys did not play in that 10-man rotation. Notably, the biggest difference from this game from the previous game against the Hornets was OMax Prosper actually played in the first half. So the 10 guys who played, if we include the starting lineup and then the first 5 guys off the bench, it was Santi Aldama, then OMax Prosper in the front court, Cedric Coward. He was the first sub to check in, I'm pretty sure. Cedric Coward, he played. And then there was John Conchar. Now, Cam Spencer was the 6th guy off the bench, making it an 11-man rotation in the first half. But I don't know if Cam Spencer would have played if Ty Jerome hadn't gotten hurt. Cam had a pretty solid first half, made a couple of nice three-pointers, tough three-pointers. He had a really good game, honestly, I felt like. But the Grizzlies played those 11 guys. There's no Vince Williams Jr., who, by the way, we haven't seen. He didn't play at all. He hasn't played the last 2 games. Is he hurt? It seems like it, but we haven't heard anything. No Gigi Jackson in the first 3 quarters. PJ Hall, who had been high up in the rotation, he did not play in the first 3 quarters. Saw that a little bit interesting. Oh, also Javon Small. I didn't mention Javon Small played in the first half. I didn't list him. Javon Small was the hero of the first half. Javon Small putting the ball in the basket. Yes, we have lots of negative injury news with Scottie Pippen Jr. and Ty Jerome. But Javon Small, incredible last 2 games of the preseason. After I was really fixated on maybe his shortcomings in transition, how he wasn't able to finish in transition, it felt like in the first couple of preseason games. Now Javon Small just absolutely on fire from the 3-point line, after being the lone bright spot outside of Jaren's health against the Hornets, where he had 18 points and 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 turnovers against the Hornets, made 5 out of 6 3-pointers. He comes out in this game, makes his first 4 3-pointers. He ends up making 9 out of 11 3-pointers over the past 2 games. Javon Small been scintillating. But off the bench, Javon Small, Cam Spencer, John Conchar, Cedric Coward, Santi Aldama, and OMax Prosper. Now, with that 11-man rotation in the first half, with Javon Small playing well, with Cam Spencer knocking down a couple of 3-pointers, the Grizzlies were not doing very well. The Grizzlies gave up 68 points to the Heat in the first half, which just so happens to be exactly their preseason average for points allowed in the first half, which happens to be the worst defense in the first half in the NBA, or the most points allowed per game in the first half goes to the Grizzlies. Again, that doesn't include the international squads. There were 3 teams from overseas that ended up allowing more points per first half in the preseason, but the Grizzlies among NBA teams were the worst. So the Grizzlies are losing at halftime. They're giving up a ton of points, and it's kind of the same old, all right, when are they going to start playing defense / can they play defense? And this was still with the Grizzlies making 3-pointers. The Grizzlies ended up being on fire from downtown the last couple of games of the preseason. The Grizzlies were 10 for 20 on threes in the first half. That's how they actually cut it to a 4-point game. They weren't losing by much, but they gave up 68 points in the first half. Now, In the second half, they really turned things around. There was a very promising third quarter where the main regular players got it going. Now, the defense was not any better, but at the very least, the Grizzlies jumped out and erased the lead. They actually took the lead in the third quarter. Then it was back and forth. The third quarter score was 38-35. But mainly this game, it was really taken over in the fourth quarter. When they pulled the regular guys, you have a Gigi Jackson fourth quarter explosion. OMax Prosper made a huge impact. Those guys took over the basketball game. And it was exciting to see just because we've been starved for victories. It was great to see for Gigi, who, I mean, he's still the youngest guy on the team. We can remember that, but it is year 3 for Gigi, and we're kind of waiting for it to be for real. And him not being maybe in the main rotation, he took the opportunity in the fourth quarter. He scored 13 points in just the fourth quarter, made 5 out of 6 of his field goal attempts, including 3 for 3 on 3-pointers, also blocked a shot, got a steal. I mean, the Grizzlies in this fourth quarter, they were generating turnovers. They were dominating the glass. So they were winning the possession battle, and they were making shots. So that's a wonderful formula. They ended up running away with the game in the fourth quarter. The hustle of OMax really stood out. And now I think, I mean, you see what he did in this game after not being included very much in that Hornets game where he gave up 145 points. Maybe OMax has earned himself more of a look when the regular season starts. PJ Hall, he played the whole fourth quarter. He wasn't, again, one of the guys chosen in the first 3 quarters. PJ Hall in just the fourth quarter had 10 points and 7 rebounds. But I think of that front court, like, who's it going to be? Maybe sizing up or like asking Cedric to play the 4 or Conchar or somebody to play the 4. Maybe they go the other way. They had a lot of success in this fourth quarter where the lineup was the 5-man unit that played most of the fourth quarter. It was Cam Spencer as your de facto point guard. It was Cam Spencer the 1, and then I don't know who's the 2. You had Gigi Jackson out there. You had Cedric Coward out there, and then OMax and PJ Hall. So that's asking Cedric to play small forward or shooting guard, which sizes up the Grizzlies. It's asking Gigi Jackson to be small forward or shooting guard, whichever one. Again, those guys are on the wing. This is a bigger lineup, a lot of success. And again, it's still the fourth quarter of the last preseason game, so it's not super meaningful. Also, by the way, the Heat did not win a preseason game. The Grizzlies and Heat came into this game, both teams winless. But maybe still, you can say this worked pretty well. Maybe OMax gets an opportunity to run with the second unit when the season starts to just get some energy in there, get some activity, get some rebounding, get a little bit of rim protection because it's been sorely missed outside of that. Now, speaking to the main guys, I mean, once again, we're looking at, I think, a bright spot of the preseason being Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells led the Grizzlies with 21 points against the Heat. He did all that, of course, in the first 3 quarters. He ends up having a really nice preseason, ends up leading the Grizzlies in points for the whole preseason. He makes over half of his field goal attempts, a nice 42% mark from the 3-point line. His per 30-minute scoring, like if he plays this out, he averaged 20 points per 30 minutes in this preseason. And yes, it's a small sample size, just a few games with some hot shooting, but that's way up from what he averaged last year. So there are at least some promising signs, if you're looking for those, of Jalen Wells. So he had a really good preseason. Jaren Jackson Jr., he struggled in this game. He's coming back from that toe surgery, but it wasn't the best performance, and you need him to be, I think, at his peak. Once the regular season starts, we're going to be depending on Jaren a lot. This game had a lot of the negatives that are the detractions to his game. He did not get many rebounds. He struggled with foul issues. He did not shoot a very high percentage. The foul issues, it was numerous illegal screens. Yes, the Heat are probably flopping and dying on the screens to get the call, but I mean, Jaren in his 8th year, I don't think should be getting 3 illegal screen calls in one game. Also, he sometimes has bad games against Bam Adebayo. Bam is a very physical and great NBA player, great defender. So Jaren's game wasn't the best, really. But again, we just want his health to be good starting the season, and we got that. KCP had another strong game. I mean, it's wild looking at the Grizzlies' shooting percentages for the preseason. KCP, 59% from 3. I mean, it's just 10 out of 17. Cam Spencer in this one, again, pressed into service with Ty Jerome going down. He made a bunch of tough 3-pointers. He ends the preseason 10 for 21 on 3-pointers. Maybe I've been underestimating what Cam can bring as far as his contributions in the regular season. I mean, some of these 3-pointers the last couple games, they were like your true 3-point threat shots. They were pull-up shots. They were coming off screens with guys in your face. Like, these were gunner shots, and they were going in. So, impressive performance, I felt like, Cam shooting the basketball. Santi, he's not giving me much this preseason. I'm not seeing a ton to really talk about with what he's done so far in the preseason. He had 9 points and 5 rebounds in his 16 minutes. Cedric Coward, so he was included, in the first half where he was part of the, your first top line 11 guys. He, in the first 3 quarters, which is when I think it was more of the dress rehearsal, he only took 2 shots. He missed them both. They were both 3-pointers, meaning his preseason splits are extremely stark. I talked about him last episode, but of course now he's contributed 0 for 2 in the first 3 quarters of this game. In the preseason, in the first 3 quarters combined, Cedric Coward finished the preseason 3 for 23 from the field, and 17 of those 23 field goal attempts are 3-pointers. He was 0 for 17 on 3-pointers in the first 3 quarters of preseason games. He made his only field goal attempt in the fourth quarter, that fun fourth quarter where the Grizzlies got it going, meaning he shot 11 for 22 in fourth quarters of the preseason. So 3 for 23 in the first 3 quarters, 11 for 22 in the fourth quarters. I choose to believe he's clutch. That's why he's waiting to the fourth quarter to do his damage. Going for the rest of the bench, Javon Small finishes with 16 points, making those 4 3-pointers. And again, no turnovers. I don't know if I said that yet. No turnovers. That's impressive for Javon Small. I mean, 16 points, 5 assists, and no turnovers. A great game after another really strong game for Javon Small. Will he be heavily involved on opening night if there's no Ty Jerome or Scottie Pippen Jr.? It seems possible. If there's no Ja Morant, what in the world? It seems like, yes, he will play. OMax Prosper's final line, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block. That's magical stuff from OMax, who, again, didn't even really get a chance to play against the Hornets. Conchar had 5 points, 2 rebounds in his 14 minutes, made a 3-pointer. Cam Spencer finished 3 out of 6 from the 3-point line, also had 5 assists, picking up most of those assists in that fourth quarter where the Scrubs dropped 39 points. I mean, the Grizzlies scored 77 points in the second half. So a nice little offensive explosion there for the Grizzlies. I haven't talked about Jock Landale. Jock Landale, 12 points, 6 rebounds. He finishes the preseason also with some incredible shooting numbers. 7 for 12 on 3-pointers for Jock Landale. Yeah, I mean, you got PJ Hall made 3 out of 5 3-pointers in the preseason. Javon Small, 10 out of 17. Jock Landale, 7 out of 12. A lot of guys over 50%. Impressive stuff there. Now, let's turn a little bit to talk about the Scottie Pippen Jr. injury. And again, we don't know what's happening with Ty Jerome, but it's an unlucky blow for Scottie, who is one of the promising young guards on this team. He was one of the bright spots against the Thunder in the sweep last year. Scottie didn't back down, and he had some monster games. And it is, I guess, just bad luck when you look at the Grizzlies roster and whatever they did this offseason. Maybe it wasn't what many of us wanted, but at the very least, when the offseason was over, the common thought was, well, at least we have a lot of ball handling options. We got Ja Morant and Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. We're loaded at the one, and now you got nothing. I mean, hopefully Ja Morant is good to go on Wednesday night, but it seems like Ty Jerome might not be, and Scottie's going to miss 12 weeks. I mean, that's basically half the season. We're talking about 40 games or so. So, a really tough blow for the Grizzlies. They're actually with Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, and now Scottie Pippen Jr., I think they're just one injury away from being granted a hardship exception, which unfortunately we know all too much about based on the 2023-2024 season. But no Scottie is another big blow for this team. And then once we get the Ty Jerome news, just fingers crossed that it's not serious and that Ty Jerome will be available. But one negative thing about it is just that Ty Jerome, he has a history of injury. Last year was basically the only year of his career where he's been healthy. I mean, maybe he wasn't playing early on in his career because he wasn't good enough to crack the rotation, but like he struggled with injury, and he's talked about it where, he feels like last year it wasn't that he got like way better. It's just that he didn't get hurt and he got the opportunity to play. So Ty Jerome has dealt with injuries, and now this latest setback could be a setback for him, could be a setback for the Grizzlies. And it's weird. Now, you go into the season, and usually people are so optimistic. And I haven't done a lot of season predictions or anything, but the Grizzlies are in a weird spot where it seems like they're taking two timelines where they're trying to, compete, but also rebuild a little bit. Also, hopefully find a way to get better than they were, but that means a longer term thing because they're not better than they were right now. And it's hard to track enthusiasm. I mean, part of it's because I used to be on Twitter a lot, and that social media has really gotten dampened, and it's much different now. So it's hard to get a good feel of like where Grizzlies fans are at. And my personal friends who are Grizzlies fans, there is no excitement. And so I wonder, I see the feedback in the comments on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who comments there. But I'm curious if other people are super excited. And I'm excited to see what this team can do, but my expectations are not very high. And so I wonder what's that like for, the broader fan base. I wonder what ticket sales are like. I wonder what the viewership is like. I'm guessing it's not that high. I mean, I can look at my own viewership numbers, my own listener numbers. It's not like it's peaking or anything. It's down from previous seasons going into it where I think there was way more enthusiasm. So I'm curious. I mean, the Vegas number on FanDuel for the win total, as of Saturday, it was 39.5, where the Grizzlies over-under is at 39.5. And that's tough to deal with. And you look at the West and you say, how are the Grizzlies going to catch up with these teams? And you say, if your answer is, well, Ja Morant, that's asking a lot of Ja Morant. And I would love for it to happen. So hopefully Ja can get it all together. I mean, if KCP can have a bounce back year, Jalen Wells takes a step. But then going down the list of, it's a tough ask for the Grizzlies. When Zach Edey comes back, maybe it's late November where he'll be back and ready to play. Maybe Brandon Clark comes back earlier, but the Grizzlies are in a tough spot. But hey, we'll make it through it together. We'll come to Nobles this Wednesday in Nashville and cheer for the Grizzlies. So, I don't know what I'm expecting out of this year. I assume if they don't have any more catastrophic injuries, like they're going to hang around 500, I would guess. I think they could easily win 45 games if they get injury luck. I also think there is a steep slope. There's a steep drop off where if they have bad injury luck, like it seems they're currently having, if Ja Morant misses a couple of games, where your supporting cast gets exposed. And I think that's where the Grizzlies are right now. They're like walking this tight line or this tightrope of, like Santi Aldama is pretty good. I don't think he's the 99th best player in the NBA, like where the Ringer put him in their top 100. Like Santi's pretty good, but like he needs to be surrounded by good players. And like John Conchar is useful when surrounded by good players. And we have this entire cast of characters that needs to be surrounded by good players. And if there aren't good players, well then you start playing other teams and you realize, wait a minute, their talent level's higher. It's really hard to win. So it's going to be a tough ask for the Grizzlies. And of course they're installing whatever this new system or whatever Tomas Isolo wants to do. And Tomas is a rookie head coach in the NBA. I know he's had a ton of success overseas, but I think we've seen in the NBA before where the new coach with the new ideas doesn't always work. So yeah, I would say at this point, the Grizzlies are aiming for the play-in, but a couple more bad breaks, you could imagine them slipping down into the lottery. And also we're going to spend the whole year also cheering against the Suns because we get the Suns pick, hopefully, if all the pick swaps work out exactly how we dream. Anyways, that's probably enough for today. I didn't take a break for a commercial or anything. Went straight through. We'll hope the Grizzlies get healthy. We'll hope we get good news about Ty Jerome. We'll hope we get good news about Ja Morant. And I will see some of you guys at Nobles East this Wednesday night for the kickoff of the NBA season. I am excited about the Grizzlies' first game. I'm excited about the NBA coming back. I hope you are too. Anyways, thanks everybody for listening. If you want to support my show, if you want to get that extra bonus episode I dropped on Saturday, the only way to do that is at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right. Hope you guys have a great Monday. I'll talk to you soon. Go Grizz.